Pictures are telling. Moments in time, frozen by light, captured perhaps with a fleeting intent of everlasting endurance. These are some of the earliest photographs we as a society are aware of. Today, we observe them still, haunting images of a life we never knew. All collected via the savvy of man and the appliance of light to papers with varying reactionary chemicals. These, dated among the mid-1800s, were an era of beginning for the medium. Not only for posterity, but for possibility. We don't venture to truly understand the sciences behind these photographs, though a marvel they surely are. Surviving a flurry of wars, shifting economies, and the creeping constant of time, these images keep centuries later for us to examine today. We can look into these photos, we can suppose the histories that they hold. We can wonder what lies beyond the frame. Who were these people? What was it like to inhabit the world like they did? Photographs, as they say, are worth 1,000 words, and perhaps 10,000 questions. With the function of photography, our records became reliable. What influence our continuing histories could now wield? But pictures are limited. It was 1878 when the world was presented with an image of a man atop a horse. In comparison to other photographs of the time, there was nothing truly remarkable about this one particular. But that was all about to change because something happened. And then it happened again. And it continued rapidly, and suddenly this idle photograph became alive. The world would never be the same again, for in an instant the motion picture was created. No longer would our historic accounts be stagnant. Interpretation could soar beyond the confines of mere words. We could relive yesterday's most remarkable moments through the miracle of film. Our memories of the present were captured just as brightly, as vividly, as animated as we had lived them. It was the mere addition of motion. It was the capture of movement. It was the illusion of speed. It was the extension of life, for now along the walls before a lucky few was a living man and a living horse, galloping within the twinkling light of a projector flicker. Minds like Thomas Edison and Lumiere brothers would heighten these works with the goal of being a visual witness to history in mind. Their work was fruitful, but much like the photograph itself, it was limited. In these times, it was the eyes and the minds of storytellers that truly widened. At long last, there was a venue wherein their personal fables would become alive. Soon, nations would be going on journeys around the globe, witnessing life and landscape about the world they could have never possibly dreamed. Tales of yore that had long wisped boundlessly in the ethereal expanses of our minds were now given tangible and true physical existence. Authors with visions beyond paper could now, without limitation, truly bring their versions to life. Images that once lay restrained in the mind's eye of many a creator could transform cinematic. They were given breath, brought to life, they could now flourish and truly be free. There was beauty in motion, there was thrill in movement, it was a capture of being. As the machinery progressed, these powers grew, and on a theater screen, humanity collectively witnessed aspects of life, like the poignancy of heartbreak and sorrow, and the overwhelming joy of growth and achievement. The cinema heightened our understanding of philosophy, it shaped our character, it detailed our worldview, and ultimately, it demonstrated our shared creativity. Artists would take our lives, add bits of their own fantasy, whimsy, and observation, and deliver to us comforting forms of entertainment. Movies, the ultimate pastime, and a powerful cure for any dilemma. We could laugh, we could cry, we were empowered, we were humbled. We found the awe of exploration and the loveliness of home. When the world was in turmoil, we sought solace in the selfless words of Humphrey Bogart on an African tarmac.
He's looking at you, kid.
On the stretch of the silver screen, we somehow felt confined, wrestling with ourselves as we watched a dozen angry men count steps and ponder the bounds of reasonable doubt. And then we were lulled to the tranquil banks of the Moon River as Holly Golightly sweetly serenaded us from the fire escape. Our adventures were endless and our adventures were meaningful. It's certain that every work of art is autobiographical in a way, and yet within the magic of the motion picture, we always manage to find ourselves. That's the power of the movies. That's the power of movement. Motion is a multi-way ticket, an escape to fantastical worlds, informative history, potential futures, and the noteworthy aspects of our present. Film, movies, and motion pictures had been offering these notions to us freely for 100 years. But there was a climax. It goes without saying that this entire journey, of course, was a gradual and steady build-up to the ultimate peak of movie making. It was 1969 when a grand culmination of all of these elements, all of these stories, all of the everything was about to take place. We were introduced to a 1963 Volkswagen Beetle Model 117 Deluxe Sunroof Sedan. Without pondering too hard, it's plain to see that an automobile is the essential mechanical equivalent to the wonder of the motion picture. In the way the movies brought the world to us, a car was a way to bring us to the world. Simple mechanics, pipes, metals, and steering wheels fused together into something that would allow us to travel within limits to places we wanted to go. But much like a photograph, the automobile lacked something important, something crucial, something that could only be found in the movies. What more could be added to a plain car, you ask? Well, Walt Disney had the answer. The car lacked life. And in 1969, the world was introduced to a moving and an invaluable American icon, the championed progeny of global cinema and history. His name was Herbie. He's a love bug. And it's about time he got some flippin' respect. The film was called The Love Bug, and it was sensational. The instant critical darling quickly became one of the highest grossing films of all time. Audiences just couldn't get enough of Herbie. It's a story of an unconventional friendship, a showcase of unstoppable teamwork and the perseverance of the human and mechanical spirit. The Love Bug sees Jim Douglas brought to the screen by famed Monkeys Go Home actor Grover Spellman. Douglas is a hapless, has-been race car driver with good intentions but perhaps some misguided motives. Once more, it would appear he has found himself increasingly down on his luck, living in San Francisco, California, competing in inferior demolition derbies and seeking residence in a former firehouse. He resides there with his friend Tennessee, played here by renowned Italian character actor Antonio Abalonzini. He's a virtuous artist who sees the bright side in everything and finds imperative value in literal junk. Finding charm in the plain, he repurposes car parts into expressive works of art. It's not just an eccentric quirk of his craft, it's an actual manifestation of the true life philosophy he vows to live by, developed in a life he lived before San Francisco. Patience, kindness, and occasional drunkenness are just a handful of his admirable traits. But their lives are about to change, for enter Herbie, a sentient and miraculous Volkswagen Beetle. He can do things that no other car can do, and he's exactly what Jim Douglas needs. It becomes quickly apparent that Jim doesn't pick Herbie, but Herbie chooses Jim. This is instant love. Through a set of unconventional hijinks, Jim finds himself in reluctant possession of Herbie, a car that seems to malfunction in all of the right ways. He enters and wins races with his automobile, believing himself the master behind the wheel, but Jim Douglas is blind to the truth, for it is Herbie, in fact, doing the heavy lifting on the raceway. Herbie with a mind of his own, a heart of his own, a heart that is pure and loving and determined. It takes some give and take before Jim's eyes are truly open to the reality that Herbie offers. But finally, they recognize each other for who they are, and the fact is, they need one another. All the while, Jim Douglas finds love and must evade the treachery of a villainous automobile dealer, Peter Thorndike, who will stop at nothing to sabotage the races and take Herbie for himself. The pinnacle race being the El Dorado, where Jim has laid all of his cards on the table. It's important to note I'm being intentionally vague regarding the details and the subtleties of the story, because if you haven't yet experienced the glory of the Love Bug yet, I dare not rob you of that adventure. Will they win this race? Will Herbie and the gang pull off the impossible? I won't spoil it here, but yes they do, and it is wildly glorious. In classic Herbie fashion, the laws of physics and reality need not apply. The power of teamwork, of friendship, and of love make the impossible possible. Director Davis Krumstock behind the camera showcases visionary and deliberate intent for carefully manufactured excitement. In the quiet moments, we find levity. In the action sequences of racing, we find wonder, and it's in its zaniest aspects the story mimics the rich pageantry of life and throws in a bear. Krumstock has packed this picture with rich nuances and substantial cultural commentary.
Help! I'm a prisoner! I can't get out!
We all prisoners, Chicky baby. We all locked in.
While Herbie is technically a Volkswagen, in a very real sense, he represents the crux of every element of the human condition. Herbie is a shiny, motorized reflection of the best and the worst that we can be. Yes, I'll say it, Herbie is not a perfect, unblemished figure. While mostly well-meaning, very much like us as humans, Herbie certainly has his faults. His manic personality is prone to impulsive fits of anger, jealousy-induced rage, bouts of crippling depression, petty retribution, and even unplanned hangovers. But above all his shortcomings are the things that Herbie does indeed get right. Herbie is quick to offer a compassionate covering of love to his friends, a persevering dedication. Herbie, even when the cards are down, never gives up. Herbie is the good. And he finds the best within us all. His friendship to those who need him is like salve to the battered soul. While villains like Thorndike parade around the world with their menace, with heroes like Herbie on the road, they cannot prosper. Herbie is timeless. He does not date. Herbie is the hero we've always needed but never saw coming. Many in Hollywood have tried to repeat the cinematic magnificence that the Love Bug once brought to the screen, but they have failed. Scholars and casual filmgoers alike have and will continue to debate the lessons, the message, and the overall intent of the storytellers. Each is a lively conversation for sure, but what is not up for debate is that the Love Bug is a work of art beyond understanding entirely. It's a treasure of cinema, a perpetual fountain of bountiful meaning so powerful it even made Kubrick blush. The story of Herbie is one of singular excitement, emotion, and perseverance. We observe in the face of many obstacles and blatant sabotage that the power of friendship prevails. We can lean on our own memories as we lovingly reflect on our own relationships, finding that our best friendships bring the best out of ourselves. This is the victory beyond any kind of race. And we as an audience learn together there is undeniable truth to that old adage. It's certain, teamwork makes the dream work. Is that ever true? In The Love Bug, it is, in essence, a masterpiece. As the years went on, Herbie would show up just when we needed him most. He would return to ride again. He would go to Monte Carlo. He would go bananas, every time bringing joy, zest, and happiness to the lives in which he entered. In 2005, Herbie went fully loaded, and we haven't really heard from him much since. But fear not, my friends, he's out there, and I'm confident he'll emerge with more inspiring stories and adventures soon. But why should we wait for more portrayals of Herbie when we can have the real deal? We have the perfect venue to really showcase his exploits. We have the ability to honor Herbie today, and that is, of course, with a theme park ride. As the motion picture gave life to the photograph, even more so can the theme park ride bring life to a film. Walt Disney understood this. He pioneered the magic of physical, intellectual property-driven entertainment. He created and designed a whole Disneyland that would offer audiences the chance to truly enter into their favorite cinematic Disney stories. No longer would the imagination be held within the edges of the screen. They were now expanded and given the liberty to explore 360-degree immersive environments. The practice has continued for decades and decades as theme parks all around the world have brought stories from many a film to living life in this way. For as gratifying and real as these movie experiences may feel, there is nothing quite like being able to experience them for real. The movies inspire the attractions reflect the movie, and thus the movies become more attractive and the cycle repeats. In absence of more Herbie installments, I believe that the next logical step for Herbie the Love Bug is to assume his own personal theme park attraction. It's not a new notion by any stretch. Herbie has made a handful of appearances here and there among Disneyland and the like. He once held the spotlight in an automotive stunt show, and even today, you can find him in a small corner of Walt Disney World. Many make the pilgrimage yearly to honor Herbie in that way. It's a rewarding experience for sure, for here lies the ultimate monument to Herbie and his exploits. For now. We need something more permanent, though. We need something more accessible than a hotel visit. A theme park dark/thrill ride would be able to accurately display and exhibit the elements and exploits we've always wanted to experience regarding Herbie the Love Bug. It would require grandness, a bit of shrewdness. Above all, it would need great creativity. Surely it would be a fairly expensive undertaking if done correctly, unless there was a way to repurpose and overwhelmingly improve a current attraction we already have access to within a specific park that's sort of already undergoing an identity transformation. You're thinking it, I'm thinking it, we're all thinking it. Test Track is fine, I guess. It was always a subpar experience to the one it replaced. World of Motion was a dark ride achievement, and at its core, both iterations of Test Track have basically just been droll nonsense that leave more to be desired. Every theme park fan says so, every one. But the fog starts to clear a bit when you consider how Test Track is pretty clearly suited to tell a deliberate Herbie story. And consequently through this, we can let Herbie tell a more EPCOT story. Yes, I officially propose that Test Track be completely rethemed to honor and celebrate Herbie the Love Bug. It's the story we needed in 1969. It's the reality we require in 2020. Working within the framework of the Test Track we already have, and with the addition of a little Imagineering enhancements here and there, the Love Bug retheme is surprisingly doable and incredibly necessary. Test Track is done. Join me, if you will, on the Herbie Derby. First up, we have to lose the General Motors sponsorship. We just have to. It's just not going to work. Drafting the right correspondence with the right verbiage to the right people will surely ensure Volkswagen's delighted involvement. The World of Motion building is iconic and must stick around. Our enhancements may require some reinforcing and securing here and there, but this is nothing that the construction teams with Disney can't handle. Once inside the doors, we quickly enter a facade that matches that of the signature San Francisco firehouse Hook and Ladder, number 27. Tennessee has opened the doors for the public as an open house. As we go room to room, we're given a loose history of Herbie as framed newspaper clippings adorn the walls, each headline declaring another international racing victory that Herbie has achieved. In each of the rooms are other sentient everyday items that we as guests can actually interact with. We encounter the bell-ringing trolley parked outside. In another room, we find the lively jukebox spouting peppy tunes for us as we pass by. Of course, it wouldn't be the Hook and Ladder if we didn't get to see the elegantly repurposed barbershop pole turned goldfish tank up close. As we navigate the queue, we're given an idea of what we can expect when we're finally buckled in. There's a big race coming up, and we're going to race in it. As the line comes to its exciting end, we find ourselves in the garage of the firehouse. The whirring sounds of mechanics and tools echo off of the walls. We enter into our cars, which appear to be re-outfitted Test Track cars, much more closely resembling that of Herbie the Love Bug, though. These cars are much different, though. The undercarriage has been completely redesigned. They're equal parts Test Track ride system, equal parts Indiana Jones ride system, equal parts trackless ride system. It's amazing, really. I don't know how Imagineering pulled it off. And we're off. The vehicles move forward, and the initial incline sends us directly out into a lovely, detailed San Francisco cityscape. The garage attendant placed at the corner confirms we're all strapped in, assuring that Herbie is known to have a mind of his own. We turn a slight corner and suddenly we're at San Francisco's iconic Golden Gate Bridge, although in typical Herbie fashion, instead of driving across it, we're ascending it. Impressive projection mapping technology secures the illusion we can look out over the bay and see the vast San Francisco skyline. The score here is, in a word, sublime. We descend the bridge and find ourselves on a bustling San Francisco street. We speed up rapidly as we careen down the street, narrowly evading oncoming traffic. As we turn the corner, we're at a stoplight, being challenged to a race by some younger hooligans presented here in an adjacent audio animatronic vehicle. The light turns green and we are off. Our ride vehicles equipped with internal hydraulics allow us to actually rear up and take off. We speed ahead on our back, two wheels leaving the hooligans eating our dust. With a victory in tow, we continue through the San Francisco street, and just before we enter what appears to be a restaurant, we pass by two other audio animatronic figures. A wonderful nod to an impactful Love Bug moment.
We all prisoners, Chicky baby. We all locked in.
As we enter the building, it becomes quickly apparent that Herbie has taken us through a fancy working dining room. That's because it is a fancy working dining room. This restaurant will be a celebration of San Francisco cuisine, serving classic dishes like rice-a-roni and, burgers or something like that. We don't come here for the food though. We come here for the awesome atmosphere as love bugs drive by continually throughout our meal. It's great fun for the entire family. As we exit the restaurant, we find ourselves at the base of San Francisco's classic twisty, windy road, Lombard Street. We zig and we zag our way up as Herbie continually ramps up speed. As we reach the top, we take a hard left at the busy street ahead and we suddenly find ourselves playing chicken with a semi-truck. We move out of the way though. But look at this, by evading the semi-truck, we find ourselves at the starting line for the great race, the International Herbie Derby Grand Prix. Now, side note, here's where the most remodeling will have taken place, as the Herbie Derby will see slight alterations to the outdoor ride track. At the core of the Love Bug is a clear celebration of amity and humanity, of the spirit of adventure. Similarly, EPCOT has also maintained this direction since its inception. There's no other place in the world where you can travel a world and fully experience its peoples and cultures and customs than an in-the-world showcase at the EPCOT Center. It is the best venue for an international race. The Herbie Derby will see the demolition of this minor loop here and extend it around and through each one of EPCOT's elegant World Showcase pavilions. The films were able to take us to Mexico and France and Brazil, but the Herbie Derby takes us everywhere. A truly international race with quick strolls through Mexico, Norway, China, Italy, Germany, America, Japan, Morocco, France, United Kingdom, and Canada. We go through them all. The Herbie Derby becomes an integral part to the excitement of each of these pavilions. It's why people flock to EPCOT. As we race from country to country, we're able to get quick looks at each of its veritable sites. We pass by gigantic Mexican temples and diners. We actually skim and bounce over the tranquil waters of Japan's calming koi ponds. The Eiffel Tower of the France Pavilion is the perfect backdrop to our on-ride photo. It's a quick jaunt around the lagoon, but it is a thrilling one. As we complete our World Showcase tour, we'll loop back to the Herbie Derby building as the race meets its climactic conclusion. Alas, another car has entered the race. Could it be the devious Thorndike? It is, and the only way for us to defeat him and win the race is to, at speeds of around 60 miles per hour, separate the cap and go about either side. These are impressive ride vehicles. As we regain the lead, the front row and the back row reconnect just in time to cross that storied finish line. We have won the race, we have won EPCOT, we have won the Herbie Derby. As we watched the Love Bug for the first time, who among us was not envious of those who could befriend and ride within Herbie the Love Bug? We all were. The Love Bug was able to harness the awesome power of the movies and channel it all into one lovable Volkswagen. The Love Bug is one of the greatest movies to ever grace a screen, and likewise, the Herbie Derby is one of the greatest rides that EPCOT will ever see. Disney, do not sleep on this. Do not let Herbie get away again. Consider EPCOT in its current state. A mysterious black and white photograph from the 1800s. Take it, ponder it, transform it to its full potential. Give motion to what is still. Give life to what is dull. Change test track to the Herbie Derby. It's time to completely surrender to the magic of the love bug. It's time to fully embrace the possibilities of EPCOT and really travel around the world. It's time to bring Herbie home. Until next time, we'll see you in the happy place.
You know something about champagne, sir?
Have a sure. If you tell me that the bubbles tickle your nose, I shall probably kill you.